Tommy, we're back together at last, mate. It's been a while since I've seen you in the flesh. Hey, Ben.
Yeah, I know. Very well, very well. We need to turn our form around, so I made the call and said you've got to come in this week because we've been disappointing on the multis.
We were very confident last week too, which is always dangerous because that's when it tends to go south very quick, as we've learned.
A bit stupid, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We were very confident and we were out in our first leg and then our second leg failed as well and we brought it home. Of course, we win the last two legs, but Jezza Cameron didn't kick his four that we expected him to. Well, I expected him to.
You were in his DMs, I'm sure.
Yeah,
just let him have it.
Slid into
knowing
his
you.
DMs. And then obviously Melbourne. Wow, I did not see Fremantle belting them.
No, it was a very stiff round at tip last week, and that one was over before it even began. But we'll get into that in a little bit. We do have a few newsworthy topics to discuss this week, starting with the potential 2-game suspension of Harley Reid. We're recording this on a Monday, so we'll see what happens there.
He's going to challenge.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you think it's 2 games worthy, just quickly?
I'd love to see him get off. I don't think he will, or change the rules on. Like, the best and fairest element to that is ridiculous. It's the best young player, in my opinion. The rising star is the best young player that fits those category under 10 games up to 21-year-old. Where's this fairest element come from? Like, I know Corey McKernan didn't win it, but it's not the Brownlow. And we should get rid of it in the Brownlow as well, because what you can get suspended for now is changed dramatically from 10 years ago. And you think about when the Brownlow came in, and they're not scared to change the rules, as we've seen on the weekend. The holding the ball rule is more confusing than ever.
Oh, but we could spend an hour talking about what that is supposed to be.
I hope he. I mean, he's probably in a bit of strife. The slinging motion of it, play hits his head, but he doesn't go off with concussion or anything like that, and often it's adjudicated on the outcome. So they need to call Carlton's lawyers.
I like how you just slipped that in there. Yeah, very good. From a betting perspective, this has turned everything on its head because sounds like Harley Reid's not going to be eligible to win the Rising Star. I think it's like $1.10 to win before the weekend. It's even more complicated because Sam Darcy is potentially out as well for the Dogs, who was looking like the second elect after he ran over Braden Maynard. Didn't we all hate to see that? The bookies right now have pulled the market, so I can't give you any prices, but going to throw a few names at you that probably go up as the favourites. Ollie Dempsey, Geelong, 3 goals again on the weekend against the Tigers, 27 touches.
He's probably going to have to be almost favourite, I would have thought. There's a bit of talk about the North players. I'm sure you get to them, but I think Dempsey nearly has to be with his work consistently that he's been able to do. Yeah,
I think he'll go up something like maybe $3.50 around that mark. Wardlaw earned that vote earlier in round 2, averaging 17 touches, a lead around the clearances all year. I'd say he's top 3 easily.
Yeah, he's going to be right there as well. I mean, you take I think it's going to be Reid, Darcy, they'll be first and second, and then the third place getter. So whoever you think's going to finish third, which is potentially one of those 2 guys.
What about Kyle Lohmann?
Yeah, if he can continue in the back half of the year, I mean, he kicked a bag against Richmond a couple of weeks ago. If he can continue to do that, which he has the ability to do. So it depends what they do. Brisbane, if they start to really hone in on kids, because you would think that their finals hopes are nearly gone. You've got to pick for the future almost, not for the future, like for the next 12 months. And Lohmann, I think he can be a serious player.
Had a couple of goals against my Hawks before they went on the bye for Brisbane, and Lions have a big game on Friday night.
Yeah, Friday night against
the
Dogs.
Bulldogs. Yeah, that's good luck tipping that one, everyone. We're going to look ahead to Sunday though, Super Sunday. 2 top 8 clashes of the standalone fixtures. Starting with first and third, the Swans take on the Cats, who are seemingly just going at the moment. Both sides drew when they met in round 16 last year. Really low scoring game, 54-54 each. Swannies coming off a bye. And worth noting that the last 2 games between this pair have gone under the total. Really interesting game, though, from a statistical perspective. Both sides ranking top 5 in tackles, really good pressure outfits, and then both also ranked top 5 in scoring. So what are we backing here in terms of the total? Are you happy to go off the under?
No, I'll go over. I think I'm not sure. The weather was bad over the weekend in Sydney.
It's pouring in Sydney, yeah.
So,
Rose Hill called off on the weekend. No good. So, I was tipping well there too.
Well, look at the forecast. That's not very good.
No. Not good for Origin on Wednesday night either.
20 mil Wednesday, 35 Thursday, 25 Friday, 10 mil Saturday, 4-0 Sunday. But
Sounds like Namir, you're changing your pick midway through.
no, I'm not.
You guys still going over?
Because they'll probably get no rain because the bomb has no idea about the weather. But no, I'll go over. I think Sydney, their ability to score and midfield work and forward half of the ground is exceptional. So I think they'll probably blow Geelong away. Geelong are just going. I mean, they've lost at home against Port. Richmond, who are just going, they've literally got half their team, half their squad out on the sidelines, and they get pushed in that game and behind. I don't. And they fall. No, they lost to the Giants as well. So they're on the road this week. They're out of form, out of touch. They've got a few injury concerns as well. So I think Sydney, and by a decent margin.
Locking in Sydney and the over.
Sydney and overs.
Bit of value there. The other game on Sunday is 2nd versus 5th. Bombers that you saw up close and personal on Sunday up here on the Gold Coast taking on the Blues. Both sides have been called pretenders at multiple, parts of the season so far. Should be a pretty big crowd under lights at the MCG, I should say, on Sunday night. Let's talk about the ruck really quick. De Koning has been huge for Carlton over the last couple of weeks, particularly against Port last week. 18 touches, 12 contested, 8 clearances, kicked the goal as well, if you don't mind. Brad Scott, on the other hand, rests Goldstein against the Suns, which may or may not have cost them the game. What do you think?
Yeah, probably did. If Goldie plays it certainly adds a different element, but you don't want to have your 2 first. Like Draper's still not there as well. So your first 2 liners aren't there for Essendon. If that's the case, you'd be leaning towards Carlton. I think Carlton will win. Essendon, they were exceptional. I've seen them live for the first time and didn't think that much of them, but their first quarter, the way they defended, their pressure was really high, the intensity of the game was good. Gold Coast are in some good form and they're hard to beat at home, but once the Suns started to shift the angles of the ball, they found Essendon's defence out. So Essendon defend really strongly, a 2v1 almost. They try and defend guard 2 players, so they get really aggressive in their positioning. But once you shift off that line, so the Gold Coast Suns were going straight, continued to turn it over, played in Essendon's hands. Once they shifted the footy, got to the corridor, open side of the ground, they opened them up completely. I'd imagine Carlton would have watched that and gone, right, let's do that. If they're going to defend the ground like that, if they're going to be that aggressive, the open side is always on. So I think Carlton will probably win that game. They'll go to work on how Essendon play and how they defend, but they're going pretty well, Essendon. Again, I think their second half of the season, they may get found out a little bit. I
was going to ask you if you thought there were some chinks in the Bombers' armour, but it sounds like you're quite sold on them being a finals contender now.
Well, yes and no. If they continue to defend that way and teams work out that you've just got to change angles on them, I think they'll get opened up a lot and they'll get some heavy scores against them. Their percentage is the dead giveaway, I think, 102.8, sitting second on the ladder when you've won 8 games. That should be up around 115, 120. So it says that they're giving opposition teams a chance to be in game. So I liked what I seen early in that contest. I don't know whether they can do it against the better teams in the back half of the year.
The Bombers are 6-3 at the line over the last 12 months off a loss as well. So that's just a nice little stat to keep in mind.
Yeah, I'd probably go Carlton. What's the line? Or do we have the line? Not
10.5.
10 up. Yeah, I'd probably go Carlton at the line.
Carlton at the line.
Are they minus?
Yeah, they're favourites,
Yeah, probably Carlton at the line.
Okay, well, there's some good picks. We need some good picks in our multi, though, because as we spoke about at the start here, not so good. I took the D's to cover. I was very confident too. Minus 13.5 against the Dockers up in Alice Springs. And just, I don't even know what to say. The less said, the better.
Oh, incredible that game. I don't think anyone's seen that. Melbourne, admittedly, have been disappointing. West Coast got them a couple of weeks ago, but not by that margin.
Yeah, I know. I saw Bucks come out and say that they're just not fit. And it seems like that.
Yeah, it's a big call. Big call. You'd imagine they are, but there's something a bit smelly there, isn't there?
Absolutely. There has been for a little while. So. I also had the Gold Coast 1-39, so that was a good little value boost for us. And you had Lukosius 2+ goals. That got up, but yeah, Jezza Cameron 4+ let us down. This week, geez, you love this one.
I'm going back to the well Friday night. I can't go past him. He's the best player in the competition, has been for 4 or 5 years now. Hasn't got a Brownlow next to his name, but Marcus Bontempelli 2+. I think he gets the job done. I don't think Brisbane will send anyone to him.
Yep.
They've sort of shown that they don't do that in the past. Maybe Berry might get a role at certain points, but I think the Bond will kick too.
You're a brave man touching this game. I just couldn't go close to it. It could be anything.
Well, the Dogs have been good the last 6 weeks. They've completely turned. Like at the start of the year, and probably will come back to bite me, but you just don't know with the Western Bulldogs what team's going to turn up. But they've been a lot better the last 6 weeks. And Brisbane, well, you can throw at the dartboard and see what happens there. I've got no idea how they're going to play.
Two very inaccurate sides, too, in front of goal. That's what makes it even more dangerous. Speaking of going back to the well, I think I've been banned from this, but I'm doing it anyway. North Melbourne plus 20.5 against West Coast in Perth. The Harley Reid factor is huge, I think.
Oh.
And if North are going to win a game, this is it. This has to be.
You're a brave man.
Has to be done.
Plus 20. Oh,
do you like it or hate it? I think you hate it.
I'm on the fence on it because I understand what you're saying, but any game that involves West Coast and North Melbourne, you got to stay clear of. But you've tipped into it, so good luck.
Got to be brave sometimes. You're sticking with that game as well. You've got Elliot Yeo 25 plus.
Yeah, I think so. With Harley Reid going out, he may get Shields to go to him. I think the first point of call would be Tim Kelly, so I think Yeo will get off the chain a little bit, and he might have 25 sort of halfway through the third.
Last leg, I've gone the Swans to cover 18.5 against the Cats. We've already spoken about that game. Swannies off a bye. I just like that. So to recap, we've got the Bont 2+ goals. We've got North Melbourne to cover against West Coast. Elliot Yeo, 25+ touches in that game. And the Swannies to cover against the Cats, $12.20. You can find that multi in the AFL special section on the Neds app.
Beautiful. Good luck. I think we're a chance. I was super confident last week, but I think we're a chance.
Don't say it. That's where it goes bad. Thanks, Rocky.
What are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.